Hello, Star Citizen community. It's your old friend, your old boy Defanos, here showing you some old 1.6 action. This hot 1.6 action. Um, I'm not gonna get into a long video like the others have on YouTube. I'm just gonna just flat out look into this camera and point blank tell you guys this. Stop being scared. I understand that a lot of you never played these older flight models. Most of you newer backers weren't around for this stuff. I can understand why this would make you a little bit nervous and scared. Okay, especially if you're a solo pilot in a smaller ship. Yeah, that's kind of a little scary for you. I understand, but it's not the end of the world, and there are ways for you to, not put yourself in situations to begin with to get shot at. Number two, I wanted to show y'all the slower flight model, the older flight models, so that you can see for yourselves, or at least get somewhat of an idea of what it's going to look like if you haven't already. Okay. First off, CIG, I'm really happy that you've made these changes, and we're going back to somewhat of what John Pritchard originally designed for the game. We'll just see what happens. I am of the same everyone else for the wait and see camp because of a few reasons, and not because of disengaged engagement. That does not concern me at all. In fact, that's one of the best parts about the flight model update is just essentially telling people that if you're going to dogfight, you're doing it at this speed. Okay? Like, you're not... The argument of maintaining relative velocity with the current top speeds that we have without the acceleration to justify it is just no. And even with the acceleration, the amount of g-forces that you're pulling, not just in a Gladius, for example, but other ships, is just beyond the realm or beyond the tolerance of human, of human tolerance. So, and Chris, he's always wanted a World War II game in space, and I don't know why there's been such a fight against that. Like, if you didn't want a World War II game in space, then why did you swipe your credit card for Star Citizen? That's just first and fucking foremost. Did you not read the brochure? When I first, years ago when I made my Rage videos and quit this, I meant what I said back then. And I still think to this day that a lot of the stuff going on at CIG is bullshit and unnecessary. I think that being on this merry-go-round masquerade for 3.5 fucking years unnecessarily has damaged the game reputation, right? The argument is that pilots like us were too toxic, and we created a toxic environment in Arena Commander. Well, my argument is that you've made the game toxic and corrosive with the sheer amount of cheesiness and exploits that people have to use to compete in this environment. I just don't see how anyone can sit here and say that being competitive in this environment is viable. It's not. It's just not. We don't have, in fact, only in these last couple of years did I finally realize what Jared tried to tell me back at DragonCon 2017 when I first met him about the way that we were approaching the game and our mentality about it. Through the years, it feels like CIGs have intentionally made these changes to invalidate most of us, and that's just the personal feeling. But the other feel, oh look, your boy Defanos won. Yes, the nostalgia here. I miss the older flight model. I am biased for it because it is the flight model that I started playing the game with. Essentially the slower flight model with more angular velocity and being able to maneuver and being able to fly. Just, it's more about flight than it is about top speed. And then of course aiming matters, right? And this is another thing that gets people scared, is that they don't have the ability to aim as well as others. Well, you have auto aim. I fucking hate it. I despise it. I think it's dog shit and garbage. But you got it. You fucking use it. If you don't have the ability to aim like some of us do, then push R on your keyboard and fucking gimbal us down. Okay? Don't be ashamed. Like, don't let people like Templeman and other ace pilots, make you feel ashamed for using a system that CIG put in place because you need the handicap to compete. That's just where I'm at right now. It's an unfortunate stance I have to take, but auto aim's not going away, so I just have to deal with it. I personally think that bullet bending is a better way to go about it, but hey, I'm not making the game, CIG is. But all that said, yeah, I still hate auto aim. I wish it would go, and I like the new changes they're presenting. It gets away of all this toxic behavior, right? So now it's my turn to call you people toxic. Isn't it funny how things go full circle? Isn't it funny how all that works? The behavior in the flight model itself is inherently toxic, and it's anti-competitive. Okay, the amount of shenanigans and bullshit, the amount of adjustment that you have to make in order to dogfight is outrageous and unacceptable. It just is. And oh yeah, this is back when. Oh wait, no, I did that myself. That's right. But what was I saying? Oh yes, the fear. A lot of you didn't play this game or play the original elements of this game, okay? And I understand that. Most of you are newer cats on YouTube, and you've only been exposed to the 3.0 or newer flight model. By the way, some of us call 3.0 the Judas patch for a reason, and it's because that was the patch that JP's flight model was put officially into the trash can. All of your Newtonian realism flight model, that's the day that Star Citizen died for some of us, and that was when that was put into the trash can because of the limitations of the game engine itself. Okay? These are not these are words I said in the past before CIG said, yeah, that is in fact what's going on. That is in fact the case. So how did it get to this point? Well, feature creep. The addition of other aspects of the game. When you add all this other stuff, you got to cut stuff out to make room for it. So in order to make room for everything else, the flight model had to turn into essentially an arcadey kind of game. And how else do you do World War II in space without it being an arcade game? Because with it being a simulation, engagements in space would never be in fighters, and they would always be in big ass fucking capital ships, and your engagements would be like just outrageous. That's realism. That's realism in space, and no one wants that. If you want that, by all means, go fucking play Space Engineers or goddamn what's it called, Kerbal or Dual Universe. Oh god, yeah. If you want that kind of a cancer fucking PvP experience, go play Dual Universe. If you want the fucking PvP like that, oh my god, it is horrible. You want to talk about full physics simulated space flight? Yeah, go play that fucking game. And even that game has a speed limit in space because they admit in Dual Universe, the devs over there in France admit that the game engine cannot handle all these people going that fast. The desync would crash the server. So this isn't even out of Star Citizen. This is out of other space games that are doing the same thing. All right, just because but that's not what CIG said to Photos. That's what's going on, particularly at CIG. No, there is a universal physical limit, if you will, digital limit, if you will, on how a piece of software can operate. Things do overlap in game development, and these limitations in other game engines, not just CryEngine, Lumberyard, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Star Engine at this point, whatever. All these game engines have limitations, and there you go. If that is a universal limitation between all space games, okay, that's why we can't go infinite speeds. I'm sorry, if we're gonna invoke Elite Dangerous, we can't just invoke Elite Dangerous. We gotta invoke EVE Online and the time dilation that CCP instills on their servers when high player counts start engaging in PvP. We can't not forget about Dual Universe, obviously, for what I just said. We can't forget about, Kerbal Space Program. Can't forget about space engineers and the obvious asset limitation or physical item like limit in that game that before the server just starts to just you know all these things all these problems that Star Citizen have are clear as fucking day in other aka released titles. Okay, guys? But I'm really kind of diverging from the whole flight topic, but not really. That's kind of a side note there. If you pay attention to game development, if you pay attention to game development across all the industry, not so much knowing and being an expert and having a piece of paper that says you know definitively about how game development works. Motherfucker, you could run a DayZ server and know how to manipulate CIG's loot system in Star Citizen. Oh, and by the way, I do. Like, this is, like I said, all video game mechanics. There's nothing new, guys. Alright, I've said this before, I'll say it again. All these mechanics that you're using and playing in Star Citizen are present in other AAA games or other games that you're currently playing at the moment, alright? So, in order to train for these in Star Citizen, you just gotta learn how Star Citizen has integrated or has done this gameplay loop, and boom, there you go. Everything else is just like riding a bicycle from another video game, right? Once you learn the Star Citizen way, then it just becomes, oh, well, now I can integrate my older ways of things, or my other techniques, if you will, through other video games, and integrate it into Star Citizen. And by the way, this technique, for me, works fantastic. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm pretty sure the rest of you do this. And you're probably just sitting there like, why the fuck is he talking? What the fuck is this guy talking about? What does this even matter? Personal skill matters, because personal skill enables you to do things or not be able to do things, right? Personal skill is more along the lines of knowledge versus being able to caveman your way through the situation, right? Patience, tactics, there's more to just being a Star Citizen than a dogfighter, for example, and there's more to there's the warrior's path, there's a rogue's path, there's a wizard path, like all this is what I'm trying to get into. Like there's different ways and mentalities of going about it, and we can't just sit here and be like completely laser focused, locked in on oh no, this one gameplay change, this one thing, a flight model is going to completely affect my wizard gameplay on such a level I won't be able to run away, I won't be able to teleport and blink out twice and blah blah blah. Just chill. All right, when the ship rolls come into play later down the line, things will start to get more and more interesting, okay? But as it is right now, this is what it's going to look like in the beginning. Everything's going to have somewhat of a same flight model, maybe some higher or lower speed values depending on what you're flying, kind of a appetizer, if you will, into ship rolls and how it's going to look like. These little subtle things that CIG do, and if you actually take the time to read between the lines of everything they do, you can start to put together an overall mentality of what they're doing. Sometimes you run into logic loops, like, why the fuck did they do this? Did they do this just to clown us, or to, invalidate us, or to troll us, or to prevent us from doing something, or encourage us to do something else? And sometimes that answer is, in fact, yes. We'll just have to wait and see. But, yeah. These new changes are great, guys. You shouldn't be too scared. Just adapt and overcome, right? If you spent the last 3.5 years flying this flight model in a Desinky light fighter, yeah, you've got a lot of fucking reason to be nervous, because you've ruined your muscle memory. You've completely, changed the way that you play the game, because you've thought for so long, this is the way it's going to be. This is the way it's definitively going to be. And I've sat back for almost 4 years, just waiting to see what the final flight model is going to be. Okay? Even with this new flight model that's coming out, I'm not going to take it competitive seriously like I used to. I'm going to wait until CIG says, this is it. This is the flight model. This is we're done. When CIG says that, that's green light for me to come back and be competitive. But until then, everyone needs to just chill the fuck out with your clouts, chill the fuck out with your egos, chill the fuck out with, oh, he killed me, therefore my organization looks bad and this one looks good. Like, just guys, knock it off. That is the source of all the toxicity and corrosion. And if you would just stop that and just play the game and help CIG make it until they say, hey, now it's time to do that. Now it's time to be competitive and all this other stuff. Cool. That would be great. That is my one ask, if I can have one, of the SC community, is just look at it differently, man. Like, don't stress yourselves out. Like, it is just a video game, and I know a lot of you will take it more than just being a video game, but at the moment, treat it as such. It's not the Second Life. It's not EVE. It's not the next EVE Online. Not yet, guys. I want it to be there too. We're getting closer. But guys, just please. It's not like, let's just work together and play it. We don't have to like each other, but let's just work together, regardless of what walk of life we're from, and help CIG make the best damn space sim ever. Oh, and excuse the mess I've been cleaning up. The holidays are soon and the family's coming over, so yeah, a lot of cleaning, a lot of shit to do. But anyway, you guys take it easy, and I will see you back out there when it becomes available and competitively viable, I guess. Maybe in duels. I won't be doing Battle Royale anymore, probably Squadron Battle. But if I do play this game competitively, any type of competitively, even if it's just the slightest bit, it'll be in duels. That's where you'll find me. Later.